in government, basically, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. How long have you been on the license commission?
So I think the original appointment was to fill out someone else's term. I think it was Linda Sweeters. So I think in terms of this being a full term, I think it's just over 2 years.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with the easy question. Not
Yeah.
the easy question, but why are you running for state rep?
So this came as a surprise. First of all, Steve Hayes, and a family friend for a long time, and my children played sports with his. And when we heard the announcement, that was, of course, a big surprise for a lot of people. And quite frankly, never thought of running for the position, but was called upon by fairly substantial folks in the party if I would consider doing it. And politics not really ever having been one of my goals, so to speak. But I think this is a critical time for Fitchburg. I think it's time when we see so much attention from Boston and Beacon Hill helping out in the community with a lot of attention, particularly for the 3rd Worcester District. I don't think we can lose that momentum, and that is the reason.
So what do you think about the job that Steve Hay has done, and how would you look to sort of improve on it?
Yeah, so we want to continue the momentum that we have here in the 3rd District, and that means working with all parties. This particular area, I think a lot of people will refer to it as being purple. It's not really about party. All politics is local, and this is really about coming together and continuing the march forward with effectiveness. Yeah.
Why do you consider yourself qualified to take on this position?
Well, a lot of life experience, and being a lifelong resident of Fitchburg, certainly have seen the ebbs and flows of prosperity along with setbacks. And then typically this is an ideal opportunity where my children are grown. I've got an ability to focus on the issues and a track record of success. So now's time.
How do you feel that your experience on the police force for, was it 32 years?
Yeah, 32.
Yeah. How do you feel that it impacts your ability to?
Well, one of the things I think that any kind of public safety work gives you is experience to think quickly in times of crisis. Generally speaking, there always has to be a plan B and more than likely a plan C. And in those critical environments, oftentimes person's lives are in the balance. And if you take that experience and then put it towards projects that generally take more time and can take an awful lot more thought process, I think it's an ideal opportunity to put together plans that will succeed for the good of everyone. Yeah.
You said it came to us as a surprise, but did the thought ever crossed your mind before to run for any sort of state position?
Yeah, I think when we see the signs, out on the side of the road, I think that always crosses a lot of folks' minds. But it's an awful lot of work to get your message out to the public, for the public to really like your position and think that you're going to do a good job for them. This is about government by the people. That's what this nation's founded on, and certainly locally. How much are you actually going to do to help them, and what kind of work will you do? And so in terms of the work record, proven track record in terms of working hard and getting things accomplished, and I think now's the time.
So what party are you going to be running for? And why?
So these papers will be for the Republican Party, but I don't see that as really secular at this juncture, and particularly locally. I think we can honestly say that particularly Fitchburg and the Precinct B in Lunenburg has clearly shown they're more interested in the candidate than the party.
Yeah. Have you heard about anyone else running for candidacy?
Well, I don't know officially. Certainly there are a number of names in the forefront. but no one that I know who has formally taken papers that I know of. Yeah.
So, if you're elected, what sort of on a local level, what sort of issues would you be focused on in Worcester?
Yeah, we frequently hear about transportation bills. We frequently hear about Chapter 90 funding and even grant awards from the national level. We know there's a huge amount of money being spent on roads and bridges, particularly bridges after they had decayed over several decades. And we need to continue that. It's obvious and it's in the forefront of a lot of the citizenry. They drive their cars every day. Tires are expensive. Work on an automobile doesn't get cheaper. And we really need long-term solutions to our transportation system, whether that's increased funding and technology for the T and working on MBTA projects forward, or I think for sure where particularly this district has both rural and urban residents. One size is not going to fit all. One methodology of transportation is not going to fit all. So we need to listen to the concerns of all of the residents and how can we improve their daily commute.
Are there any sort of statewide issues that if there were a bill put forward that you would like to sponsor?
So I learned just this morning that there had actually been some legislation forward from the Senate that was not passed through the House on energy, and that being said, munis or municipal energy distribution that takes place at the government level. And of course we do know of communities that do that. And I think after just a week ago we had this hearing with the DPU on how our energy is delivered and whether or not the residents are happy or have a choice in who they do business with. And so I think that's a big issue, and we need to find something and solutions. You had mentioned, how do you think that your experience in government may help you? Oftentimes, we need to find solutions immediately for a situation. This actually may be a great opportunity to think outside the box and to develop opportunities that may not have been looked at before.
Do you have any sort of message for voters about why they should choose you?
Proven track record of success. It's also including the precinct B over in Lunenburg. And I want to make it very clear, I don't want to forget anyone, even though the majority of the district's in Fitchburg. But I support Fitchburg in the biggest way and always will. And we have another opportunity to honor the past with a strong future. And when I say that, we're talking about the incredible industry that was built by the likes of Alva Crocker, by folks like George Wallace, and that we don't squander the wealth that we've inherited ahead. And we need to build on that, we need to honor it, and we need to continually move forward for the next century eventually.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
I know. I've got a lot of work to do, and we shall see. Coming closer to spring and throughout the summer, and then of course up to Election Day. If this is resonating, if this is the message that I'm anxious to modify, if the residents that I speak with say something different, this is a campaign of listening.